And it's time for our Tuesday Sports Spot. Joining me, we have got the Stat Man. G'day, Jace. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, Clayton. How are you going?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. It's good to be chatting to you. And we're going to talk footy, finally.
Yes, we're not far away now in terms of the men being back in action. We're starting to see some details of intra-club practice matches get out there. Port Adelaide had theirs last weekend. The weekend before last, in fact. The Crows had theirs on the weekend just gone. So, and around the competitions, lots of other practice matches going on, kids putting their hands up to play. This is an exciting time of the year where everyone starts equal, Clayton, and everyone gives their team a chance.
We're all full of hope and optimism that our team's going to make it there by the end of the year. That'll dissipate by Easter, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. But how did your beloved Crows go in their inter-league sort of match game? And were you happy?
Well, the Crows had a win, Clayton, so that was good. Good start to the year.
Very impressed I am. They had a win.
No, look, it's hard to tell because you're playing yourself, but there were some good signs amongst there for some of the senior players. Tex Walker kicked 3 goals. Looked like he was moving around uninhibited, which was nice. Some of the young kids stood up. Jackson Haley loved his game for the red team. I think he is going to do some good things this year for the Adelaide Crows, but it's very hard to judge. We'll get a better idea when Port Adelaide and the Crows have a hit out this weekend when you're actually playing against a full opposition. So we'll see how they shape up there. But skill level looked improved, and they looked like they had a better structure up forward from what I could tell. So that's a positive sign.
Well, speaking of skill improving, I'm noticing that with the AFLW, the ladies, they are getting better and better every week.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I said on the sports show I saw the best game of AFLW I'd seen, not the weekend just gone, the weekend before, and that was between Melbourne and North Melbourne. That was an outstanding game of football in general, and Daisy Pearce starred that day. We saw the best player in the competition raise her head again on the weekend, and this was right up there in the top 5 games of AFLW that I've seen. The Adelaide Crows taking on Brisbane. The Crows embarrassed recently, only kicking the 1 goal in a game at home. They went to Brisbane on a mission, and Erin Phillips, anyone who thinks that is not the best player in the AFLW competition right now, need rocks in their head, because she was dominant, and she can play anywhere on the ground. She spent most of the day at centre-half forward for the Crows, took some big marks up forward, and kicked some long goals as well. I think she finished with 4 of the Crows' 6 goals for the day. The reality is, if she doesn't play that game, the Crows don't win. And she did, and they did.
She's a superstar. She's a mum. She's a superstar. She's absolutely brilliant. I love watching her play, even though I think she's wearing the wrong colours. But that's a side issue, but I think she's brilliant.
Yeah, she's clearly the best player in that competition when she's up and going. So thankfully injury-free, and appears to be anyway, and moving pretty smoothly. So we'll see. It's a very even competition right now between the top 4 or 5 clubs. Down the bottom, it gets a bit nasty, to be honest, where there's still a bit of a gap. But, gee whiz, you'd be picking a premiership winner at the moment at your own detriment. Collingwood haven't really put a foot wrong, so they're in the mix. Melbourne still looks strong. I wouldn't be putting a line through North Melbourne, Brisbane or Adelaide just yet, so it should be an exciting final series when we get to the AFLW finals, and I reckon we're going to see some really good football. It's getting better and better year on year, and I predicted that this would be the case. We're now starting to see our first lot of girls that have come through the ranks playing junior women's football together hit the AFLW. And as more and more of that starts to happen, we're going to see girls who not only understand the game, love it, have played it as kids, get through to the senior ranks. Their skills will be there, their knowledge of the game will be there, and the standard has to rise as a result.
Absolutely, totally agree. And, yeah, I'm enjoying watching it. And so's the wife as well, which I was quite surprised. She's not really into the football, but she's really loving this, which I think is kind of the whole point of it. Now, I just need to ask you about something, Jason. You'd be the person I would lean to know more about what is going on. There was a story over the weekend about a Richmond superstar possibly going to Sydney because he loves Sydney and all that it offers. So could we see almost another Dusty doing a Lance Franklin?
Oh, gee, this prediction's up there with yours about Novak Djokovic tying the big 3 or tying the big 2 in the tennis, Clayton. that was pure nonsense, and so is this.
You don't think it'll happen?
No, I can't see it happening, and the reason I say that is Dusty's got form for staying at Richmond and knocking back big money offers. So he loves the footy club. He's won some flags there. These sort of franchise players that you get that come along once in a generation rarely move clubs. It does happen. We saw it with Buddy Franklin.
Yeah.
And Sydney have been able to pry a couple of them out over the years. Plug a Lockett and Lance Franklin and whatnot. They've been able to get them up there, but I don't see it with Dustin Martin. The only reason that he would go to Sydney is because he's a kind of a reclusive dude who doesn't really like the limelight, doesn't give a lot of interviews. He gets the opportunity to have a bit of anonymity in Sydney, which might not be the case in Melbourne. But all in all, I just don't see him leaving Punt Road. So, no, I think that's pie in the sky sort of stuff. Is it possible that he could go to Sydney? Maybe, with the right money in front of him and the right circumstances, but I don't believe for 1 second that that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I guess we're going to find out in the next couple of years. His contract runs to 2022, so we'll see what happens. But it was interesting to note that Damien Hardwick, when he was asked about this, he said, well, I've been watching Dusty in his preseason training, and he's in his best form I have ever seen him ever. So,
well, he just won the 6-kilometre time trial down there at Punt Road. And it's not like he's a kid trying to make a name for himself, so he's certainly fit, and that's scary.
It is indeed, and there's going to be more scary things, that I dare say, coming out of Richmond this year. All right, we'll know more about that as the season goes on. Thanks, Jace. We will talk more sport with you later in the week, and I'm sure get more of what's local football on the West Coast and all around the region as well on the Sports Show.
Look forward to it, Clayton. Thanks, mate.